where in the Bible does it say Jesus had pink skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes? It's not in there. Read it again.
For if he that cometh preacheth another Jesus, whom we have not preached, or if ye receive another spirit, which ye have not received.
So what comes with another Jesus? Another spirit. Go ahead.
Or another gospel, which ye have not accepted, ye might well bear with him.
What comes with a false Jesus? Another spirit and another gospel. So the gospel that our people are following, a Caucasian man saving black people, no, it's not Bible. You were taught a false Jesus, which means, how did they keep us in slavery then? Where was, with the chains on our necks and arms, where was for God so loved the world then? That was never preached to us. We were slave chattel, okay? Cattle, as they call it. We were property. So for God so loved the world, he gave us up. That didn't apply to us for centuries. Now when we got emancipated, and we're saying, hey, remember Marcus Garvey was coming up, many black revolutionaries. So they say, hey, we got a new plan, For use John 3:16, that's what the church did. Use verses on love to get them black people in order. Get them subdued again. You had the Klan come up. You had these various church groups, and they said, okay, we're all one. We're equal in Jesus now. Oh, now we're equal in Jesus. So, but they never taught us we're the children of Israel. We're the people that were with Moses. So they're still lying to us to a large degree. And it keeps us subdued to their feet. But now this truth is coming out. No. We're more than Negroes. We're the Israelites. We're the people of Jesus. We're the people of Moses. We're the people of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. Now, like Putin, you saw the news? Putin opened the vault. Bam! He said, Jesus has always been black. And it's like, wait a minute. If Jesus is black, that means his people are black. And that means when he returns, there's going to be a judgment for enslaving his black people. And nobody want to talk about that. Putin playing games with people, bro.
No, that's very powerful, the Putin thing. I would like to, so you said that you was raised in church.
Yes.
I would think back to like your grandma. Was she a strong Christian?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Did she follow the scripture?
She would read the scriptures. She always had the Bible. She'd be like this, just read it. And she would read primarily John 3:16 over and over and over. So when I would ask, kids, you ask questions. What does Jesus look like? What does God look like? And she had a picture of white Jesus on the wall.
She would point to it?
Yeah, that's Jesus right there. So I grew up like that.
Yeah.
So when I heard, I remember one day I asked my mom, I read Song of Solomon 1:5, I am black and comely, O you daughters of Jew. I said, what does that mean? It don't mean nothing, boy, sit down. Don't it mean he black? No, it don't mean that. So I would shut up and I was okay. But then later on, I found that Solomon was black. And I found the archaeology, the old paintings of him as a black man.
You know, what's funny is I ask elders that now. That'd be one of my main things to ask elders, like my father, and everything. So they never taught me that Jesus was white. So that was never a part of my upbringing. That was never taught to me. And some of the most strongest Christ-like people that I have ever met, you know what I'm saying, that I honor, that I only could look up to and hope that I could get on their level are in those scriptures, So again, when I can never cast them out and I can never associate them with these other people, and I think it gets bunched together. It should not be bunched together, just like the Hebrew Israelites that practice one way shouldn't be bunched together with the whole thing. Because one of the questions I will ask you is about, again, we were speaking about marriage. Can I have a wife? Can I go marry another wife?
Well, get that in 1 Timothy. Well, here's the answer. 1 Timothy 3.
Book of 1 Timothy, chapter 3 and verse 1. This is a true saying.
What I like better? I like 1 Corinthians 7:2 better.
Yes, sir. 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 2. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication,
to avoid sexual sins,
let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband.
Now Timothy 3:2.
1 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 2. A bishop then must be blameless, the
The
husband,
word bishop means head or leader. Go ahead.
the husband of one wife.
So now people go out and do whatever they want, but it don't change what's written.
I understand,
You know?
but I've had, again, so-called Hebrew Israelites try to take my head off and tell me that you can marry more than one wife. I had brothers right online, right on the internet, battle me about these same, issues, but I
Right.
don't bunch them together because now you're explaining to me something that is in alliance with what I understand
Yes,
about the scripture. So
exactly.
that's just to show you it all shouldn't, I don't think it all should be bunched together.
I understand what you're saying. I would word it like this. There are people in our lives, like my grandmother, people even at Union Baptist Church, that I love dearly. But at the same time, no matter how much I may love somebody, I gotta start with myself first. I gotta measure my life. Give me that 1 Corinthians 15:3 about, examine.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
First 13 and
13 and
5.
5, thank you.
Okay. Second Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 5. Sorry. 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 5. Examine yourselves whether you be in the faith.
So now, starting with me, I got to examine myself. I could say I'm a God-fearing man. But when I'm studying the scriptures, looking at the law, I have to compare my life to what this says. And it's going to be two decisions I have to make. Either I'm going to conform to what God says, or I'm going to close my eyes to what he says and do me. And that's what I see with a lot of people that I love. I may love personally. I may love my grandmothers, which I do. Grandmothers, my grandfathers, aunts, uncles, people in the church. But when I look at what God says and I look at what's being done and said, I'm like, no, that's not what this says. So that makes a distinction. That's what we all got to do, Like some people, like in the church, they eat unclean foods. And by reading the scriptures, like pork is an abomination to God. Say, oh, no, we're not supposed to eat that. I grew up on eating pork, chitlins and all of that.
I didn't.
I did. Down south, grew up in the South. So all that was there in the Bible. And I'm like, but we're in church eating pork. And I'm like, wait a minute. This says we ain't supposed to be doing that. So that's just an example, which goes with.
I like you keep saying some.
Hmm?
I like you keep saying some.
Yeah. Because there may be people, I don't know everybody on the planet Earth, but I know, like when I went to Ghana for a couple of years, visited a couple of times in years. I seen Caucasian images of Jesus all throughout the black continent. And the churches, they had white Jesus billboards. They had waters with white Jesus on the water. And I'm like, who is this guy? They go, Jesus. I'm like, that ain't in the Bible. So these are just examples. And it'll be people you love that you adore. But don't let your love for anybody
Doesn't
make
overtrump
this.
scripture.
Right. Exactly.
Doesn't overtrump scripture.
Exactly. Don't trump scripture.